What's up, y'all? Um, so real quick, um, I'm not gonna make this video too long. I'm tired anyway. So, alright, I'm gonna throw it all out there. T.I. is looking to travel. If you decide to come to New York City, I'm gonna tell you right now, you are walking into the gates of hell. Because I have come to the realization that New York City is probably about 90% of gangstalkers, aka secret society, um, hive mind controlled, you know, people, right? And there's a lot of money involved in this secret money. And not only is there a lot of money involved in this, but there's a lot of probably realty. There's a lot of access to, government services. They have everything wrapped up all in this thing. And you know what? The beauty of being someone who actively goes outside and actively chooses to not be afraid of seeing and looking the enemy eye to eye, face to face, knowing, the little information that I have about body area network, but also just being um, spiritually in tune with other people's energy, and knowing when someone actually feels, you know, low vibrational, or when someone actually is like you can almost tell and feel that a person is like, nah, something ain't right about their spirit. It's an insurmountable number of people. And I'm saying all this is because it really doesn't matter to some degree how good of a person you are, how righteous of a person you are, whether you have actually done something to anyone, whether it was, standing up for someone or just doing what's right. It doesn't matter. Every single person is connected to this cloud server, whether they know it or not. Every single person. Their pineal gland and their spiritual energy is connected to this cloud server. And it's all truly demonic at the end of the day. This technology is not of God. I mean, none of it is of God, but, it is deeply rooted and connected to, I would say, Baphomet and the fallen angels. Everything that is basically handed or passed through hand to hand in this city has some dark ties to it. Even some of the smiles, and you can look in the person's eyes and you can tell that they're doing secret things that that like when they leave this earth, they're not going to ever have peace in their eternal, spiritual life. Their spirit is going to be consumed by the beast, for they are already working for the beast. And whether they believe in spirituality or whether they believe in, demons or fallen angels and whatnot, that's going to be for them to find out later. Right now, they're only basically, you know, um, consumed by the whole materialistic and idolicized ideas of consumerism, materialism, capitalism, socialism. I don't know. There's so many isms, but the most, the most like important thing that I hope you can hear me fine because I got my magnetic fan playing. I said playing. On in the background, and I'm trying to see if I can chop away some of these frequencies that they're encasing me with right now. Right now, my entire starting from like this my sternum all the way up to the very crown of my head is just like encased in frequencies. And basically, that's usually meaning that I am being intercepted by 2 points. Most likely, like I believe it's a combination between two satellites that have been retired but are being used because they were hacked by this here secret network, Sirius 1, 2, and 3. There may be other satellites that are being used in the process, but I know for the most part, satellites have the capabilities to track electromagnetic fields um, of not just objects, but also living things as well. And then also uh, the unknown carrier digital cell towers. Those cell towers work as transmitters. Um, then what else? Um, right now it feels like every cell in my torso is being split apart, like to the very atoms. Every cell is being split apart. The tissues, blood, um, cartilage, everything feels like it's being split apart. Right now, the right side of my chest, of my torso, feels like it's being like pulled apart by something that is, you know, I mean, honestly, it's radiation. And are people who don't really know much about radiation won't necessarily know what radiation sickness or radiation poisoning would feel like. All you gotta do is look up the side effects and symptoms of radiation sickness and poisoning and compare it to actually compare it to some of um the viruses that are out. Compare it to the symptoms of the viruses that are plaguing our world now, and then also what else? Through this whole process, I choose not to allow fear to be a main thing. I choose not to let fear consume me. I said I was going to stand in the light the entire time while they continue their process of trying to annihilate my flesh. But the best thing about it is, vengeance is the Lord's. Cursed be he that smiteth thy neighbor in secretly, and all the people shall say amen. And cursed be he who seeks reward for the shedding of innocent blood, and all the people shall say amen. That's in Deuteronomy, I think, chapter 27, I think it's like 23 and 24 or something like that. And I think Luke 12, I forgot where in Luke 12, but it says, worry not for what they do unto your flesh. Should they kill you, there's nothing more that they can do. Fear no one, not even death, but fear God only. That's also in Luke 12. I don't remember exactly what lines. So, yeah. And then remember, they have a digital likeness of everyone. Every single person that's walking in the city. There's a digital likeness of us. Now the energy is starting to go into, it's starting to leak into the heart. Yeah. So they've definitely increased the radiation output. They've increased the, let me see if I can. They probably call them reinforcements. Remember, when you become a powerful spiritual being that stands for the light of God and everything that is righteous, truthful, you don't, really care to allow yourself to be of the world. They will send an entire army of people just to destroy you. And remember, there is much pride in that. It means that they could not take you alone. They could not take you alone. They had to get every single person to join in and help against you. And you know what? As somebody who delivers, and I'm outside and I see all these people, and I hear the murmurs under their breath. I hear like when I go into almost every building, whatever, especially when there's a doorman or whatever, you hear them kind of talk to other people in the lobby. He's not supposed to be delivering packages. There's a reason for that. Because a lot of people are connected to this system, which is eventually going to suck the life out of every single person. It's going to pull everyone into the depths for which, they all will find themselves wishing that they chose God from the very beginning and actually showed no fear. They're going to wish that they did not show fear to this technology. Transhumanism is basically the introduction to the gates of hell. That's what it truly is. It's basically the way to be an easy access or doorway to the human spirit. And once you allow yourself to just continue to be in that realm or that system of changing the DNA, or changing the essence of what it means to be a human being. You are changing yourself from God's creation to something that is not of God, or in a sense that's not what God created you to be. They believe that they're bettering themselves, but in actuality, they're only separating themselves from God's grace. And, those of us who study or know about the history of what happened to, the people or the creations uh, that once used to populate the earth, who were offsprings of the fallen angels that made it with human beings, the giants, the Nephilims, all of them. They basically found themselves to be wiped from the face of the earth. Revelations, I forgot where it says in the book of Revelations, it mentions that a third of the world's population will be wiped from the face of the earth. And when you think about a third of the world's population, a third of the world's population, you look at how many, think about it like this. Gangstalking or secret societies are spread far and wide all throughout the entire globe. And let me see, I think somewhere in the signs it says the enemy has spread themselves like a green bay tree or something like that. You can look that up, in a search engine. I forgot exactly where that scripture is. I know it's in Psalms. And it talks about how no matter how much they have spread themselves, they will be cut down like the weeds, and then they'll shrivel up and then blow in the dust. They will blow in the wind like dust, and their existence will be no more. And just remember that no matter what happens to us, right? Those of us who are fighting the good fight, we're going to be persecuted no matter what. Why? Because that's just how it's been for centuries. Those of us who live righteously, those of us who at least try our best to not be overtaken by worldly ideals and worldly, behaviors and whatnot. We will be castrated, hunted down, watched, with such great, intensity, because there is something about our existence that the enemy does not want us to ever truly fully understand about ourselves. Because once we ever do, we may actually be the ones who can bring forth some amount of our spiritual light body power into the physical world. And I think that's what's really truly happening in the universe is, there's a shift that's happening. I just got chills when I say that, so anytime I get chills when I'm speaking, that's how I know that there is definitely a shift coming. And what they don't want is people becoming awakened to their true spiritual form. They do not want people who, may be the true descendants of the 12 tribes that God had blessed to inherit the earth and be able to basically tap into the spirit of God and know their true power potential to be able to fight back, at least in this world or in this dimension. Because the holy angels, they have the spiritual world, you know, in control. But God promised that He would not, destroy all of humanity again. So basically, what is happening now is we are being tested. Every single person walking the face of this earth, and, we're all being tested to see if we can endure the fire. If we can, face the trial by fire to see if when we are pushed to our absolute limits, will we take vengeance into our own hands? Will we, you know, be the ones to basically retaliate and go out and try to, kill or cause harm to, people because, there's so many people out there who are hateful and they have a thirst for blood and they're greedy and, they're secretly, you know, basically stripping away your privacy so that they can make money off of you and things of that sort. I mean, it's scary, yes, it's scary, but at the same time, you have to obey God's command when He says, "Fear no one and fear nothing but God," because God is the only one who can grant you eternal life. You can't live in this world and be fearful of anyone and anything and still say that, you believe in God. Because you gotta remember, we are all capable of living in our light body spiritual form. And if God grants us, if God gives us, if God has mercy on us and we have been trying our best to, not be succumbed by the world, we will be resurrected and we will be able to live in a world or live in a dimension where there will be no more harm that can be done unto us. But we have to go through the trials. We have to be tested. We have to. And I'm getting so many surges of energy and chills going through me. We have to go through it. Endure until the very end. Remain faithful to the Lord. Because no matter what happens to our flesh, worry not what they do unto your flesh. For if they kill you, there's nothing more they can do. You have to keep that in mind. If they kill you, there's nothing more they can do. So even if they try to imprison you, remember, if they can't kill you, they'll try to imprison you. And just because you may go to prison doesn't necessarily mean that you'll stay there. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll die there. Obviously, nobody wants to go to prison. At the same time, nobody wants to live the rest of their life in prison. Julian Assange basically, why is my screen blank? Oh, I guess, probably because there was more light showing from the TV before. Anyway, yeah, so, look, I'm not going to allow them to turn me into, one of these mass shooters, or I'm not going to become Myra May if they want to take me out, then God willing, let them go ahead and do it. But I'm gonna make sure I'm standing in the light the entire way. You know, because remember, like, they're basically creating all of these mass shooting attacks. All these people who basically, you know, if they get captured or whatever, and they get, they get interviewed and whatnot to find out why they did all these things, and many of them say that, oh, they were hearing voices, or something or someone told them to do it. People don't believe, or they don't understand that this technology is very, very real, and they don't understand that all you need is a transmitter or some type of powerful antenna or access to the satellite, access to a satellite that can basically find the resonant frequency of a person's, spiritual, energy, or the resonant frequency of like their pineal gland or whatever they connect to. And once they lock on to you and they have you connected to their cloud server, they can basically code. It's all about, technological coding. They can code whatever they want into you. But you have to be spiritually in tune with God in order to fight off as much as you can. And if they can't control you, then they will basically kill you. When you think about think about all the celebrities who were probably revered as some of the most peaceful, loving, and beautiful people, right? Think about all those people that had lived, before us, and everyone loved them. Everything that they've ever created was all very powerful and about loving one another and things of that sort. And then all of a sudden, they all just mysteriously die. They all mysteriously die. And then it's always some question as to what happened to them, and it's always kind of like secretly, like, no one really is, like, they're secretive about how this person died, right? But in actuality, when you think about it, as a TI, you know what the hell happened to him. You know what happened to him. There's a secret society who does not want people becoming aware of who they truly are spiritually. You got to remember, there were 12 tribes. Like, at least speaking from the scriptures of Christianity, there were 12 tribes of, like, I think, like, what was it? It was like 12,000 people of 12 tribes who were basically all of God's chosen children, right? And then you got to think throughout the centuries, we have the multiplying, and as much as these secret societies, these Luciferians, all of these, all of these weird witch people, as one YouTuber, I forgot his name. I got the brain fog heavy because there's so many frequencies surrounding my body right now. I think he calls himself. I think his channel is called The Chosen One or something like that. But anyway, if you're being persecuted by this network of people, trust and believe you are part of that tribe. You are part of one of those tribes that God has favor over. And trust and believe that this world is about to experience something that's truly magnificent in terms of judgment and the changing of hand. What's interesting? Years ago, I think back in like 2011, and I've never forgotten this. I've never forgotten this moment because for whatever reason, it stuck with me for so many years. I was on the bus. Where was I? Uh, I was on. Well, if you're in New York City, then you might know. I was on the. Is that the 46? No, I don't think it's the 46. Whatever that bus is that run down New York Avenue near Kings County Hospital, right? I was on that bus, and this homeless guy, he was on the bus, and he was talking about some stuff. And most of the time, I don't necessarily always listen to everything that someone is saying or whatever. And this is 2011, so it's like, I haven't even fully come into the full understanding of, my true spirituality and my true acknowledgement of who I am, right? Why is she calling me? Let me finish this video and see what she wants. So there was this guy on a bus, and he was like, everyone is judging me, and everyone think they're so better than me. But watch, one day there is going to be a shift in this world, and the world is about to be flipped upside down on its head. And he said everything and everybody who is up is about to be down, and everyone who is down is about to be up. And he was like, he sound very lucid, like he sound very, and he didn't like sound like a drug addict or anything like that. Like he sound very, I guess in the world, in some way, he sound intelligible, right? Even though he was missing a shoe and everything, and but that statement is stuck with me all these years. And now that we're in 2022, and at least I've become aware of my game stalking in 2020, late 2020. I think he was right. I think he was definitely right. Anyway, let me go see what my old mama want. I see she was calling me while I was trying to make this video. She's worried about me. And you know what? It's like I'm not going to keep repeating myself. If you don't want to believe the things that I'm telling you that's happening, then I'm not going to keep repeating myself, because that basically, that's like stress. I'm not going to lower my frequency. So all I can say is, in due time, you may understand in the future. But if you're not trying to understand what I'm telling you now, I pray that the Lord will show you everything that I've been telling you. And that goes for everybody that is thinking something is wrong with me, or if they're not aware of the secret society and their tactics and how they're basically like forcing a genocide righteous people, or you could call it a cyber holocaust, really. In due time, we may finally be awakened to the things that I'm saying. Those who have ears shall hear, and those who have eyes shall see. But if you can't hear and you can't see, or you choose not to, then may the Lord have mercy on your soul. Because I come to realize that a lot of people who are being called crazy, even though they sound very intelligent, hey, there is something that needs to be listened to by that person. Think about it like this. Remember when all the decades that went by where people who talked about how they, all those people who mentioned that they experienced UFOs, or they seen UFOs, or they believe in UFOs and alien life forms, and then now, it wasn't until about maybe 2 or 3 years ago that finally the governments are now acknowledging or releasing documentation about UFOs and all this stuff. Right. I wonder if we're still calling those people crazy now. So, for those of you who are boldly and courageously speaking up against these secret society Luciferians and how they're basically calling themselves trying to control the resources of the lands that we're living in, and control the lives of many, through the use of technology to manipulate a person's frequency. Remember, you're not crazy. They're just afraid of you. Don't ever believe you're crazy. They're just afraid of you. Alright. On that note, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.